taking the time, and I wanted to congratulate you on the release of Find My Joy. I'm curious what prompted you to choose that title for the project.
Well, it's the title track. The song Find My Joy was written by Steve Dorff, and it was sent to me by my manager Brian Smith, who also manages Steve. And it was written in September of 2019. I don't have my time reference is really weird. I don't have a very good time reference. But at that time, I was still recovering from throat cancer. Actually, throat cancer wasn't the bad part. The treatment was the bad part. I was recovering from the treatment to get rid of the cancer. Cancer's tough. Treatment will kill you. It's just unbelievable. And when I saw the email and it said, Brian sent me this email, I said, hey, here's a song written by Steve Dorff. You need to listen to this. And I opened the email, and the title says Find My Joy. And I was like, I don't think so. Because I had zero joy in my life. I was so miserable from chemotherapy and the results and the residual effects of the chemotherapy. And which, as a Christian, it was really wrong, because our joy should not be found in our circumstances. Our joy should not be found in other people. Our joy should not be found in our work, or our joy should be found in Christ. And the fact that I was miserable from the cancer treatments and all that, sure, I'm still gonna be miserable, but I shouldn't lean so much on my circumstances. And I mean, when I look at my parents, my family was a very poor family, and my mom was always the most joyful person, always the most joyful person in the room, just joy, and she was just full of Christ, and so I had to really examine my heart and for where I was at, and but when I finally listened to the song, I was like, it just really spoke to me, really spoke to me, and so that's why I ended up choosing it, selecting it as the title track of the record.
That's awesome. I'm curious if there's a track or a lyric that's kind of stood out in the listener response that you maybe weren't expecting to get so much traction or have just so much feedback on it.
Gosh, I think a lot of the feedback we got was from How Great Thou Art, which is so odd to me, because I mean, the song's been around forever. Ever since the Ark landed, I think this song has been sang. And there have been a million versions of it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just really surprised at all the comments and appreciation for that recording. So I appreciate that a lot. So.
For sure. I know that you've been in the music business for a while at this point, so you're no stranger to making music. But I'm curious how the experience of this project kind of stood out to you from some of the others.
Well, it was, I've been wanting to record this record for a long time. And I actually started it a few times with different producers and different things. But the vision was never correct. I would start working on the project, and it was sort of, it would almost be like the guys producing the record were producing a record that maybe it would have been more suited for a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old guy singing,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 62 years old, and I didn't want to try and be something I wasn't. I didn't want to try to sound like something I wasn't. I was always, I don't know if you've ever heard any of the Christmas music I've done over the years, the Oh Holy Night album, and Oh Holy Night, different things. I always wanted music to sound like an extension of that. I wanted the arrangements to be beautiful and and we're trying to pay tribute to the great arrangements that they were. It's just beautifully written melodic hymns and then try and find some new songs to go in that kind of felt the same way, that had the same vibe about them. And I my manager got me together with Steve Dorff, who wrote the title track as well as a couple others, and he knew exactly what I was talking about. And what was really funny for Steve, working with Steve, is of course he knew how great they were, and a couple of these other ones, but like Blessed Assurance and It Is Well With My Soul, and a couple of these other ones he'd never heard before. And you think to yourself, how is it possible that a musician had never heard songs like that? And well, he's Jewish and he grew up in New York, and they don't play songs like that at synagogue. So he had never heard them, and so it was he brought something different to the recording process. He didn't bring any of the, well, we've always recorded it like this. It's always sounded like this. It's always had this kind of feel about it. Because he never knew. He didn't know. He just brought his musicality. And he was listening to these songs. He called me up. He said, man, these songs are beautiful. He said, I've never heard these. These things are so beautiful. He said, and he said, where have they been all my life? I said, well, they've been at the Baptist church. And he said, well, that would explain it. So,
that's funny.
But it was really awesome that he got to really dive into these songs and create such beautiful music around melodic arrangements around these beautiful songs. He was just really thrilled to get to do it. It was great to work with him.
Absolutely. How are you looking to define success for this collection? Because I'm sure it means something different for each project and in each time and everything. I'm just curious for you if there's anything unique for this one.
I guess it would be successful if I don't have any expectations for the record. I've been doing it so long. I don't have expectations because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. My hope is that people will dig it and that it'll do well, and we'll sell some copies and sell some downloads, and people will come see shows. What I guess I want more than anything, though, is sometime during eternity that someone will come to me and say, I heard this recording of you many, many years ago back when we were on Earth, and it pointed me to Jesus.
For sure.
That's it.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Devil Award for Album of the Year. Sure, that'd be cool. Any of that kind of stuff. But 200 years from now, will that matter? No.
No.
But to walk down one of the golden streets and have somebody stop me and say, that album pointed me to Jesus. It didn't save me, but it pointed me to the one who did. That would be really cool.
For sure. Absolutely. So one final question for you. What are you most expectant for in this year?
Oh, gosh. Well, the coolest thing so far this year is the birth of my first grandson.
Oh, congratulations.
And my second grandchild, but first grandson, and he was just born 6 weeks ago. And it's just precious. And, but, I guess the biggest hopes for this year are that that we can get back to living again. That this, I know the pandemic seems to be receding a bit, and I just hope that we can get back to living again. I thought about it. Somebody was asking me about the pandemic. What do you hope we get out? What do we think we learn from this? And do you hope we can get back to normal? And my response was that, well, I don't really want to get back to. That it said about getting back to the way we were. I said, well, I really hope we don't get back to the way we were. I hope we get back better.
For sure.
It'd be nice to get back better and to have learned something from all this. So maybe that's what I'm hoping, is that through all of this weird time in our country and our world's history, that we'll really learn something meaningful from it and end up being better people because of it, and kinder people, and more respectful people. Of course, it doesn't look like it's going to be that way watching the news today. And but just and no matter how crazy it gets, we know how it ends. So we know what the Bible's told us what the end's going to be, and where it's going to go, and it's not the prettiest picture in the world until we're with Christ in eternity. But we enjoy what this world has and what God has intended it for it to be, and we love His creation, and try to make the most of it while we're here, and to point people to Christ as best we can. And I guess that's really what I'm hoping for through this year. We can use the moments we have to point people to Him.
For sure. So, thank you.
There's not a lot of peace in this world, unfortunately.
No, not at all. Again, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time today, John. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.